get a lot of anger in his voice, and that's too bad. But we do have a very large proportion of this country that is angry. They're angry. They're sad. They're disgusted with what's going on. They see the Iran deal. They see Obamacare, which is failing and is going to, fall of its own weight. But Obamacare is failing, and so many things are failing. They see the border, the weak border, and people just pouring through, and they're angry about what's going on. They hate what's happening to our military. They hate what's happening to our vets. Tough thing.
If you were going to give the State of the Union address tonight, every president said the state of our union is strong. I don't see America as strong as it once was. I see America in decline. And that's not a negative thing. Your message is make America great again. I want America to be great again, too.
Right. You certainly wouldn't say that it's not strong, frankly. I mean, no matter where we are right now, and we are very weak, relatively speaking. When General Orellana left recently, he said that the Army is in the least prepared. I guess he was talking about preparedness. He said the worst it's been, I think he said, since the beginning. That's a long time. But let's say we took World War I or World War II. That's good enough, okay? And he said we're not, our level of preparedness is very low, one of the worst he's ever seen. Actually, he did say the worst he's ever seen. And, it's a tough situation. And this is a time, with all of the people that hate us in the world, caused largely by Obama and Hillary Clinton and others. But this is a time we have to be very prepared.
I think America is in decline. Doesn't mean we're not great. Its people are great. But this people, I would argue, are suffering because of horrible government policies.
Right. Well, we're in decline, and we absolutely are in decline, and we're going to turn that around if I win, and we're going to make America great again. And, we're like a dumping ground for the rest of the world. Whether we like saying that or not, it's true. We're like an absolute dumping ground for the rest of the world, and we're sort of like the big bully that gets beat up all the time, and that's what's happening, whether it's trade or we can't even beat ISIS. So those days will change, John. They'll change.
Let me go over some of the recent poll numbers. The recent IBD poll, Investors Business Daily poll, TIP poll, had you at 34% nationally. Ted Cruz second at 18, Rubio third at 9. Last week, you were trailing in two polls, Ted Cruz in Iowa. Quinnipiac has you up 31-29, Rubio at 15. The ARG has you up 29-25, Rubio at 10. In New Hampshire, you have a pretty significant lead. The Monmouth poll has you at 32, Kasich and Cruz at 14, Rubio at 12. ARG has you at 25, Rubio and Kasich at 14, and Cruz at 9.
Wow.
So you're winning nationally. You're winning now in Iowa, although I think Iowa's basically an organizational state. Believe it or not, 32,000 votes may win Iowa.
Right.
So it's a tough state. I mean, it's a state that Rick Santorum has won and Mike Huckabee has won. But you're competing there. You're competing nationally, obviously, and you're competing in New Hampshire. How do you see this race unfolding now that we're less than 3 weeks out of the Iowa caucuses?
Well, I mean, just based on the polls that you've just read and others, we also had one come down fairly recently from CNN in Iowa, 33-20, with Cruz being the 20. And it's amazing. I want to win Iowa. It'd be a lot easier for me just to tell you, Sean, I'd be very happy just doing well there. But I've developed an amazing relationship with the evangelicals, with the Tea Party, with the people from Iowa. And in fact, I'm going there right now. I'm literally in a car, and I'm heading out to the airport. I'm going to Iowa right now, and I've developed just a great relationship with the people of Iowa. I love being there, and I think I hope we're going to win it. I'd like to win it. I know that if we win it, I think we could even run the table, but who knows about that? But as you know, in New Hampshire, we're doing phenomenally well, leading by a big margin, and in just about every other place, if you look at South Carolina, it's a tremendous margin, and then we go to Nevada, the SEC, and we have Florida where we're doing great, Georgia where we're doing great. I mean, it's been amazing, actually.
Everywhere I go, people are ethically honest. I think you're sincere in wanting to change this country, and you are not going to be beholden to the constraints of political correctness, and you're just going to speak your mind. And I think maybe in the beginning some people were uncomfortable, but they seem to be getting used to it.
I think they are. I'm self-funding my campaign. I'm putting up my own money, so I'm not taking millions and millions of dollars like Bush and like all of them. I don't even have to mention the names, but if you look at even Ted Cruz, I mean, he's taken tremendous amounts of money from even a few people, and those people have control over these candidates, and everyone. And I'm not just talking about the Republicans. Hillary's hit a windfall with all of these special interests and lobbyists giving her money, and I'm the only one that's self-funding my campaign. I'm putting up my own money. So a lot of people like that. I mean, frankly, I didn't think it was as big a deal as it turned out to be. And I have a feeling it's having an impact on those high poll numbers that you just read, because a lot of people really liked it. A lot of the pros said, well, if you could actually do that, that would be really something. I said, I can do it easily because I built a great company, and fortunately, I can do it easily. And I never thought it was as big a deal as it turned out to be. I will tell you, people give me a standing ovation when I mention that, because they understand. They're really smart. The public and the voters are really smart. They understand when somebody hands you $5 million, those people have you. Mentally, physically, practically everywhere you can think of. I mean, they have you. And so that turned out to be a big deal. And it has had an impact, a bigger impact than I would have thought.
Did the issue of immigration...
What's so sad to see it. And this is what's happening with our country, and that's why we're going down the tubes. Take a look at Germany. All you have to do is look at Brussels or Germany or any of these places. You look at Cologne, one of the most beautiful places on earth, and they're having riots in the street and crime and rapes and everything that, stuff that just was unheard of. And they're rioting. They're going to overturn that in Germany. I'm telling you, and these are people that have only been there for 2 weeks, right? I mean, how about when they get used to it? Then they're really going to go wild. So we are being run by and now you look at with Germany. I mean, what she did, we're being run by people that don't get it. They don't have a clue. And to bring thousands and thousands of people into the United States could be the Trojan horse. I mean, it could very well be that these are fires. And if you look at the line, you look at that migration line, there are a lot of young, strong-looking men. You almost say, why aren't they back fighting for their country? We bring them back in here. I tell you what, I think you're going to get a lot of bad results, and I'm not in favor of it. And if I win, I'm sending them back, and we'll put them in a safe zone. We'll do a lot of good things. I'm going to try and get the Gulf states to pay for it because they should be paying for it. They have plenty of money, and I don't want to pay for it. But we do want to help people on a humane basis, but we don't want them here. There's no way. I watched your show the other night. You had law enforcement people. There's no way that they can, and these are the best people that you have on. There's no way that you can tell where these people came from. They have no paperwork. They have no nothing. And I guess they take their word for it or something. But we have to be smart. We have to be vigilant.
I think the president is gambling with the law.
And we have to see what's going on. Because, Sean, we have enough problems in this country. We can't find another one. And honestly, it may be the ultimate Trojan horse. It may be. I doubt it. But it may be the
I'm not
ultimate
so sure I
Trojan
doubt it at all. I think it probably is. I think I take the words of James Clapper and James Comey and General John Allen seriously while the president ignores them. You were joking the other day. I mean, now Bernie Sanders is beating Hillary by 4 points in New Hampshire. He's only down 3 points in Iowa. I've had now a lot of attorneys on last night on TV saying that there is a strong likelihood with 100 full-time FBI officials looking into her email scandal. Joe DeGeneva, others, Jay Sekulow suspect that the FBI is serious about possibly recommending indictment to the Attorney General. What do you make of her campaign? You were kind of joking that you would rather go up against Bernie.
Well, I'd like to go up against either. I want to beat the Republicans. I don't mind Hillary. And the last poll that you did, but the last poll, 2 or 3 polls have come out now and said I beat Hillary. And now we'll start looking at Bernie. And, he wants to raise your taxes to 90%. He wants to take away everything. And I would imagine beating a socialist or a communist in this country should be pretty easy, and I would certainly love to do that. I would think he'd be the weaker of the candidates. I will not soon forget when they took his microphone away, the 2 young women that ran up to the podium and just grabbed his mic, and he just went sheepishly back and listened to them speak, and the audience is shouting, what's going on here? This is ridiculous. Well, we have 4 more years of that stuff, Sean, and we're not going to have a country left.
Yeah. I won't ask you about the Hillary and Bill issue because you've answered that pretty much everywhere you've been. We always appreciate having you on, Mr. Trump. Good luck. It's less than 3 weeks till Iowa, and I think it's going to get very interesting. Wish you all the best.
Incredible that this is happening. And, there's a theory that they're they're infiltrating these various countries. And I don't know if you know, but I mentioned it and nobody understood. You know what one of their prime targets is? The Vatican. They want to go in and demolish the Vatican like they did with so many of the great artifacts and so many of the great landmarks. And different parts of the Middle East. I mean, they just destroyed them. They bulldozed them down. One of their great goals is to do that, and I mentioned it, and everyone said, "Oh, that's ridiculous." Well, then they started reading, and they see that that's one of their goals. We've got to be really smart and really vigilant. And I'll tell you what, there's just something bad happening. When she ended his poll, I won on terrorism, I won on ISIS, I won on the border, because my attitude is right. And even coming out and saying we have to rethink and we have to find out where this hatred is coming